Society Matters.
Hello. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Bernie Furshpan of Ordinary Heroes here on HMTV at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. I have a very special guest with me today. I'm excited to speak with her, Naomi Eisenberger. Hello, Naomi. How are you?
Hi, Bernie. Good morning. How are you?
Very good. You are basically in charge of an incredible organization where you're funding small nonprofit organizations. You're identifying who they are. You nurture them. They're small, often overlooked nonprofits. You've been doing this for how many years, Naomi?
I'm ashamed to say, more than 3 decades.
More than 3 decades. Wow.
More than 3 decades. Yeah.
What did you originally do? This is obviously not something you started doing.
I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I started out as a high school history teacher, and then I took over a family retail business, and I was a kosher caterer, and I was a plant doctor, and my very first job, I was a counselor for New Jersey Rehabilitation Commission, and then went in many different directions. I used to put together pillows of needlepoint canvases back in the day when women were busy doing needlepoint. There's always been a very creative side.
You've been in many industries, many vertical industries, just like myself. And you know what? It makes us more well-rounded. We bring to the table a lot of skill sets, that's for sure, and experiences.
Yep, that's absolutely true, which I think is one reason why this work for me, working with small new nonprofits, is particularly important, and where I bring a lot of skill sets to the table.
So you started this organization, the Good People Fund, or did you take it over?
No, I started the Good People Fund along with a few other people exactly 18 years ago. We're celebrating our 18th anniversary this year. Prior to the Good People Fund, I worked for a gentleman that some of your listeners may recognize the name, Danny Siegel, who ran a similar organization called Ziv Tzedakah Fund. And Danny started Ziv back in the 70s. I met him in the early 90s. I was the president of my synagogue, and we brought him in as a speaker. Danny was very much focused on people he called mitzvah heroes. These were people who worked quietly under the radar, doing amazing good things. And I worked with him until 2007. He decided to shut down his nonprofit. And I said, no, this is important. This is too important, this work of recognizing people who are working quietly, and donors who wanted to give money to programs where they know that their funds would have impact. And so don't ask me how I did it, but it was it was October of 2007 when he said he was closing. And I reached out the next morning to several people, some of them donors, to Ziv Tzedakah Fund, and said, listen, he's closing. I think we need to continue it. Will you come with me? And that was October of 2007. And by January 2008, 3 months later, the Good People Fund was incorporated and operating. And in that time, 18 years, we have raised over $35 million and supported over 250 programs in the United States and in Israel. Those are the two areas that we focus on. We have a couple of U.S. programs that operate outside of Israel or the U.S., but they're based in the U.S., which means that we can monitor them. We see their financials. We've met them. We know who they are. And meeting our grantees is the essence of our work. That this is a very personal relationship, and donors trust us. They love what we do, and they know that we are very closely aligned with our grantees. We're not just writing them a check and checking in once a year. We have an ongoing relationship with them by mentoring them, by bringing them all together in a community. They're all small programs, and most of them are started by people who are not nonprofit professionals. Mm-hmm. These are people who are we call them visionaries, who have just found very creative ways to solve the world's biggest problems.
It's beautiful. It's not just visionaries, but also change makers.
Absolutely, change makers. Change makers, the term change maker is a new one for me, but I know that it is very much out there now. I like to say these are just good people doing good things. And we refer to our donors in the same way. They are also good people because they help us do what we're doing.
So it's all about the relationships that you have. You have sustained relationships.
All relationships.
And you're aligned with their mission, and that's a beautiful thing. So you probably have some stories that can inspire all of us. Can you highlight, let's say, briefly, 2 compelling projects that the fund has supported, where there's human impact first?
I think every program that we support, first of all, there isn't one that isn't inspiring. So when you asked for 2, I was like, what do I do?
You can do one. It's fine.
No, it's fine. I can do this. I think the seminal story that I often use is the story of a woman named Frady Reese. Frady, I met 18 years ago, a little less, and she is a woman who came out of the ultra-Orthodox community. And she was married off at a young age. And the person that she was married off to happened to have been an alcoholic and an abuser. And she was, they had two children, and she did not want that life. And she had restraining orders and ultimately decided to divorce. And she didn't care if she got a get. She just wanted out of the marriage. And amazingly, she, before she left the marriage, she actually was able to go to college. She graduated as the valedictorian of her class at Rutgers, and left her husband, raised her 2 young daughters on her own, and decided that there were other women like her that were victims of arranged marriages, that were not good marriages. What was unusual was that it was not only Jewish women, but that the phenomenon of arranged and forced marriages exists in many cultures, the Sikhs, the Muslims. It exists worldwide. Mm-hmm. And so she decided to start an organization that she called Unchained At Last. And not only is she helping victims of arranged and forced marriages, but the most significant part of her work is the advocacy aspect. And right now, I believe that they have changed. Most people don't understand that in the United States, in many states, arranged and forced marriage is legal. So you can have
It's legal.
12-year-old girls being married off.
Wow.
And Brady, runs a pretty small organization, very mighty, which is very typical of all of our programs. And they are going around the country with staff, speaking to legislators, and have, I think, almost 15 states have changed the law.
Mhm.
And it is no longer legal. And so this for me is sort of in a nutshell, everything. Brady was not trained in doing this. She was obviously a very smart person. But it was her humanity and her compassion.
Mhm.
And the more she dug into it, the more of that compassion and humanity came out, because it was sort of a secret that certainly within the Jewish Orthodox community, this is a known thing, that women are married off young, and there are arranged marriages, but it's much bigger than that, much bigger than that. And so she shined a light on something that most people didn't know about. And so Brady, we were her first funder, and she's outgrown us. We fund programs where budgets are about $500,000. Our max is about $500,000 to $750,000. But our greatest, we love to take them when they're very, very young and provide them with the mentoring, and with the financial support, the mentoring, bringing them together for community, as I mentioned before. But what I've discovered over all these years is that our greatest benefit is that we're providing someone to sit at your side and help you and think through what you're doing. It's a very lonely existence. Most of these programs have started, there's no staff. It's one individual who is inspired. They must do something about this, whatever this is, hunger, homelessness, whatever it is. And I am amazed. I am absolutely amazed by the capacity that each and every one of these people has. We fund 3 programs right now in the US. These are 3 women running programs that are helping resettle immigrants in America. You want to talk about a thankless, horrible job today in this country? We started with them before immigration was the issue that it is today. And the fact that each of them gets up every day and is committed to helping all of these people who came here legally. And in this country, we've changed the laws and they're no longer legal. They no longer get the government support that they got. These are people who helped the United States military in Afghanistan, who helped save American lives and are now here and in jeopardy of being returned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's people like that who get up, do their work hard to raise money to continue the work.
The name of your organization is absolutely perfect. It is the Good People Fund. It's not just good people funding it, but it's also funding good people. It's good people working with good people. Simple as that. And I love this this project that you had, that you were supporting the forced marriages. The fact that that she is a change maker. If she's advocating and changing the laws in the different states, God bless her and God bless the work she's doing.
And there are many like that. Everyone doesn't reach that pinnacle, but we have a wonderful program in Israel that's run by a woman named Sherry Mendez. Sherry is an architect by training, made Aliyah, several years ago and was diagnosed with breast cancer a number of years ago. And when she went to the clinic for treatment, she looked around and she saw so many women who were clearly poor. And she thought, how are they fighting this disease while they don't have personal resources? And she asked social workers, and the idea came to her, and she started the Lemonade Fund. It's the only program in Israel that provides financial support to women who are undergoing breast cancer treatment. And now they've expanded it to women who are women's gynecological illnesses as well as breast cancer. So many of these women don't have money to take a cab to treatment. They don't have childcare when they go for treatment. And so she and the others who worked with her to get this going created this incredible point system that is about, it's the most beautiful thing and the most authentic way to determine who is eligible to receive help. And they work closely with the social workers at all the major medical centers in Israel. And it doesn't matter, Arab, Bedouin, Jewish, it's everyone in the state of Israel. And our programs in Israel must serve the entire state of Israel. That is part of our mantra. We support Bedouin programs. We've supported Druze programs. It's about humanity. It all comes back to humanity.
How has this impacted you personally?
The fact that I've been able to do this not once in my life, but twice, first working with Danny Siegel and then starting the Good People Fund. I've often commented that if there were a way for medical science to measure the endorphins that are floating through my body, mine would be off the charts. I do not have a day that is depressing. I have the privilege and the honor to get up every day and just do good things. Who gets to do that? This is a gift. People send money and say, give it away. And they trust us to give it away the right way. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, is an incredible gift.
We have similar lives. I've been involved in many industries, from entertainment to medical, so forth and so on. And here I am, helping young people learn about tolerance and making this shaping a more tolerant society for the future for these kids. We live in a broken world, as you know, and it's going to be up to this next generation to be more creative. They have to be more creative. They are apparently, this next generation is actually smarter and more creative than all of us, but they have to use that brilliance to do good things. And that's where they have to wake up to the fact that they can easily be swayed and manipulated. Like in the 1930s, where a German society of good people, right, were manipulated, lied to, and coerced to do bad things. And we see that since then that history keeps repeating itself, and it's doing the same thing right now. And we have to educate them that they have to push back hate altogether to ensure that their future is more tolerant, more loving, and realizing that we're all related and we have everything in common and very few differences. People are looking for the differences rather than the commonality, and it's time that we turn this around. And it's organizations like yours that are really driving this home, and I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing. How do listeners, how can they support your organization or amplify your work of the Good People Fund?
Well, first of all, goodpeoplefund.org is our website, and obviously donations to our work are very important to keep it going. We ourselves are a very lean organization. For many years, up until a year and a half ago, I was the only full-time employee. You can see my backdrop is a bedroom in my home that belonged to my son when he lived at home. Everyone who works with me works from their own home. We have a part-time operations director. We have an associate executive director, and we have a marketing and communications consultant who works part-time. And we're lean. We're very lean. It's sort of part of our DNA. I feel very strongly that the money that people give us, we have a moral, ethical, legal responsibility to handle it appropriately and with great care. And that is what guides us.
What are your hopes for the future?
Oh, what do I hope for the future? I hope that this country will bring itself out of where it is right now. And honestly, if I weren't doing the work that I'm doing every day, I don't know where I would be. The despair. And I hear from our donors all the time that whenever we send something out, they go for it immediately. It's because what we are showing and what we support are things that remind all of us about our own humanity and that they are all good, and it renews your belief in human beings, that there are still really good people out there. And there is nothing today more important.
That's a great point. There are good people out there. In fact, the majority of people, 99% of humanity is good. It's just that they're a silent majority. They don't get involved. And I'm grateful for the things that you just said and shared with us, your personal journey, as well as the things that you pointed out. And that is that if you do nothing and just sit on the sofa, you'll be in a state of despair. And watching TV and watching the news will only get you into this rabbit hole that it's hard to come out, and you'll feel very depressed and sad. And I think just the fact that you're involved, it's so therapeutic. For myself, it's cathartic to actually be involved. And I feel like only because we're doing something, we're involved. And so I implore all of those that are listening to us today to consider getting involved. Do something, get involved. Don't feel depressed or angry or sad. When you're involved, it's a whole different state of mind. You're changing the direction of the sailboat. There's wind pushing in one direction, but you're moving that sail in a different direction. You're guiding. You are playing a role. You have a hand in what's happening and the changes that are about to unfold. And I'm optimistic. I believe that, the pendulum always swings the other way. That's just the nature of the universe. And we just can't wait for that to happen, right? But it's going to take people. It's not going to take hopes and prayers and wishes alone. We actually have to get involved and do something about it.
It's much more than that. It's much more than hopes and prayers. I often go back to a quote. John Holt was at one point a famous educator. And this is I'm paraphrasing it. He said, charismatic leaders say, "Oh, if only I could do that, be like that." And the true leader says, if they can do that, then I can too.
Absolutely.
And that is really what each of our grantees proves every day. You're not going to end hunger. But if you're a guy like Gary Oppenheimer, who spent your career in technology and you happen to be a master gardener, excuse me, and the month of August comes and your plot of land is overgrown with tomatoes and zucchini, and your neighbors see you coming with a basket and they want to close the door and lock it because they've had so much of it. And you think, how could this get to people who need good, healthy food, which food pantries didn't always have? So when Gary started 18 years ago, close to that, he came up with the idea with his technology background, create an app. And he started ampleharvest.org and created a list of food pantries across the United States, circulated it as far as wide as he could. So if you're a gardener and you've got an overabundance of fresh food, go to the app, find the food pantry.
They have a resource now, and that's...
Give this healthy food. There was a time when food pantries gave you a box of macaroni and canned vegetables, and that was it.
We live in a world of selfies and the me generation, and what you're talking about is people becoming more aware, more conscious of the we in humanity, that we're all related, and we really do need to... it's not something new. It's something that we've been taught. These are values that we were taught when we were young. It's just that this society, I think truly because of social media, has become a me generation, in a very powerful way. And Naomi Eisenberger, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and talking about the Good People Fund, a great program. What you're doing is extraordinary. This show is called Ordinary Heroes. You are absolutely an extraordinary human being. And I want to thank you for all the great work you're doing. And I feel like we should be connected somehow and doing some work together. So I will definitely talk to you about that.
This is a passion for me. It's deep within my soul and my fiber. And I thank you for the opportunity and the invitation to spread the word a little bit. We're often referred to as the best kept secret in Jewish philanthropy.
Great work that you're doing. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me, for sharing some of your insights and your personal journey. To our listening audience, be sure to subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations. Until next time, I'm your host, Bernie Furshpan.